The next presenter is an award-winning dramaturg, educator, associate producer at the Public Theater, and former agent for our next honoree. Please welcome Morgan Jenness.
Thanks so much. This is kind of a bittersweet moment, which I think a lot of you will realize. In August of last year, there was an article in the New York Post entitled "Meet the Best Playwright You've Never Heard of," which discussed the fact that a writer named María Irene Fornés, who 30 years ago, had also been called the greatest unknown playwright, had shockingly still not really entered the cultural zeitgeist in a way that was deemed appropriate. Here was an artist who had written and directed more than 40 plays, won 9 Obies, and had been nominated for a Pulitzer. A woman who was a key player in the early off-Broadway movement and who was admired by and had enormous impact on more famous fellow cultural figures, including Sam Shepard, Edward Albee, Susan Sontag, and many more. A person who deeply influenced several generations of playwrights, some of whom are in this room, too numerous to name, whom she taught and mentored, and yet she remained largely unknown by the larger society and even the so-called mainstream theater. The last years, however, during the time when Miss Fornés was battling Alzheimer's, it has been really gratifying to see her name and legacy being honored, even if sadly she was not always fully aware of it. Many of her former students, such as Anne Garcia Romero and Migdalia Cruz, formed organizations such as the Fornés Institute to promote her work and to make sure that the link is recognized between their own work and her legacy. Scholars such as Brian Herrera, Scott Cummings, Gwendolyn Alker have worked to give her work more visibility and context. Her current agents, Sarah Douglas, Katie Gamelli, and her devoted long-term publisher, Bonnie Marenka, are still actively pursuing and promoting her work. An archive of her papers is now at the Fales Library at NYU. There has been, in the last couple of years, thankfully, a revived interest in presenting her work in New York City and all over the country, including the upcoming presentation of her legendary musical collaboration with Arl Carmine's Promenade at the lauded Encores series on July 10th and 11th. Also in the fall of 2018, Irene was finally, though sadly it turned out posthumously, inducted into the Theater Hall of Fame. She would have loved that. But what she really, really would have loved was to have been here at the Lucille Lortel Awards, with the community she loved so much, amongst these extraordinary nominees off-Broadway, where the best work gets done, where the artists are really supported, and where no one is a loser, Mr. Seventh Choice. Though I did love you when you couldn't sleep. And she would have loved having a star on that fabulous Sidewalk. I am so pleased, and also, quite frankly, I love the fact that she's getting this award, because this way the two names of really two extraordinary, influential women of the theater are linked. So I am pleased that this award is going to be accepted in Irene's name by another extraordinary, fierce, impactful woman who was also the focus of that Post article, who in many ways is the person most responsible, not only for helping to keep Irene alive in the final years, but for continuing her legacy in her extraordinary film, The Rest I Make Up, which is getting screenings tomorrow at Metrograph, tomorrow evening, once an agent, you know. So anyway, I'm very happy that this award will be accepted by Michelle Memran. Wow. Oh my God, there's a carry that the whole Thank you, Morgan. What a thrill and an honor it is to be up here accepting the star on the Playwrights Sidewalk on behalf of my dear friend, María Irene Fornés, Irene, as everyone calls her. I want to thank the Lucille Lortel Theater Foundation and to tell all of you tonight that I know how much this star would have meant to Irene. Now, I can say this with confidence because in 2004, while making a documentary film together, Irene and I just happened to be passing by the Lucille Lortel Theater with a camera. Now, seeing all the gold stars on the sidewalk, we started looking for her name. And when we couldn't find it, Irene concocted a plan. So I brought that footage with me here today. So you can see and hear for yourself exactly what Irene had in mind. So here we are in the summer of 2004.
There are a number of blank stars, you know. What I can do is just take a good picture of just of my face, a round picture of my face, and then put some kind of wax or something so that people could walk on it and it would still be quite shiny and the writing would be as sharp as on all the other names. And I would even try to get like a golden color so that it looks exactly the same as all the other golden discs. And if somebody would see me gluing it, I would say, well, Lucille Lortel then to do it before she stopped working on this project, and I'm sure that she instructed the people who worked on the project. She instructed them to put my name in a very important and visible place. But that whoever she gave the instruction to either didn't think I was the servant of the honor of being among these very wonderful playwrights, or whether somebody just simply forgot.
So later that afternoon, Irene said to me, I never felt I was a star. I was damn good, she said, but I never had that quality of being a celebrity. Well, Irene, you should know that you've been a North Star for so many of us all along the way, and tonight you're finally getting your golden color. I'll see you on the sidewalk, my friend.